The Russian army is not yet capable of conducting large-scale combined arms offensives. This is confirmed by the situation on the front because for the first time since 2023, the Ukrainian Defense Forces have launched systematic counterattacks. In particular, Ukrainian troops are conducting counterattacks in the Pokrovsk direction, where several settlements have been liberated, as well as near Peschanoye. This was stated in an interview with Glavred by military political observer of the information resistance group, Alexander Kovalenko, commenting on the question of who benefits more from a pause in the war, Ukraine or Russia. According to him, Russia is interested in suspending military operations because it is currently in a rather difficult situation since its troops are extremely exhausted. In principle, since the beginning of 2025, systematic counterattacks have been taking place every week. This has never happened before. At the same time, the most combat-ready and serious strike group of Russian troops is concentrated in the Pokrovsk direction, which consists of the groups of troops East, Center and South. The 41st and 2nd Combined Arms Armies are located there. That is a large number of forces and means, but even they cannot hold the territory that they captured and are forced to leave the positions that they recently reached. Not to mention that Russian troops are now moving on donkeys and going into assaults in Ziguli, UAZs and Nivas, the analyst points out. Kovalenko concludes that Russia desperately needs a pause in the fighting. However, even now the Russian Foreign Ministry says that Moscow will not agree to a ceasefire or negotiations until it is effectively given back the Kherson, Zaporizhia, Donetsk and Luhansk regions, territories that Russia illegally included in its constitution. According to him, this looks like an ultimatum divorced from reality. But this is the Kremlin's position, even in a difficult situation. Russia continues to put forward unacceptable demands while having significant problems in the Kursk region. The analyst points out that Moscow will not enter into dialogue until it resolves the Kursk region issue and tries to gain a foothold in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine. However, as Kovalenko notes, Russia will not be allowed to do this. It will not be able to restore control over Kherson or seize Zaporizhia, since it simply does not have the necessary forces to do so. That's why Russia now really needs a pause to restore its potential and then, in 6 months or a year, to start another offensive, another war, but even bloodier and more intense, because they will have much more resources at that time. And at that same time, they want to take something for themselves, without even straining themselves. He summed up.
Residents of Ukraine's second-largest city Kharkiv were dismayed by U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to pause military aid to Ukraine. According to Associated Press, days after an explosive meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Trump ordered the assistance halted in a bid to pressure Kiev to engage in peace talks with Russia. It's a highly manipulative move, as if we are being resisted in our efforts to protect our own people, said 20-year-old Nadia Dashko, a student from Kharkiv. She added that her life, along with many Ukrainians, depend on U.S. military aid. Since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Kharkiv has come under constant Russian shelling. Many fear that the U.S. decision will leave the country more vulnerable to a Russian offensive. Pensioner Volodymyr Kukurudz renounced what he said was a narrative where Ukraine is being portrayed to the world as a terrible country that started the war. The pause in U.S. aid isn't expected to have an immediate impact on the battlefield. Ukrainian forces have slowed Russian advances along the roughly 1,000-kilometer front line, especially in the fiercely contested Donetsk region some 700 kilometers east of Kyiv. The Russian onslaught has been costly in troops and armor but hasn't brought a strategically significant breakthrough for the Kremlin.
Особисто для нас, для українців, це дуже погане, якщо чесно, рішення, мені здається, бо від цього буквально залежить наше життя, від кількості цієї зброї. Це наш захист, ну, я навіть не знаю. Це дуже маніпулятивна дія, це просто, ну, якби вас буквально заставляють, не знаю, чинити опір захисту своїм же людям. Ну, це дивно і, ну, я не знаю, це дуже погано, якщо чесно, з моральної точки зору.
Поняття, що буде. Надіємося, що вони там згладять свій конфлікт, цей, який в овальному залі пройшов. Правильно, там це, звісно, взагалі несправедливість, взагалі жутка, якщо чесно. Дуже жутка несправедливість просто. За таке, за костюм, ну це взагалі, це сміх, правда. Не знаю. Думав, що на краще буде, ну, лучше б він представляв.
Мені здається, що це нагадує 30-ті роки того століття, коли до влади несподівано демократичним путем прийшли фашисти. Їх підтримувала велика кількість населення. І довело це до того, що ми мали у тих роках, до Другої світової війни. Зараз це удар не по Україні, це удар по всьому цивілізованому світу. Да. Але те, що я читаю у відгуках представників МАГА американських та трампістів, Америка First і так далі, ну, абсолютно змінені акценти. Да. І країна, яка жертвою агресора, ну, вона подається у цьому світі як, ну, яка жахлива країна, яка розв'язала війну.
European Council President Antonio Costa said Monday that he's convening a special European Council to approve concrete decisions aimed at increasing the bloc's defense capabilities. According to Associated Press, he is inviting all EU leaders and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenski to Brussels on Thursday for an extraordinary summit focusing on European defense. Costa, who heads the EU body representing its 27 member states, said this is needed to become stronger, more autonomous, and more able to defend ourselves, but also to continue to support Ukraine to obtain a comprehensive, just and lasting peace. He made the remarks at a news conference with Moldova President Maia Sandu. Costa welcomed the efforts by US President Donald Trump on negotiating an ending to Russia's war with Ukraine, but added that a ceasefire alone would offer Russia more time to come again stronger. We welcome the efforts from President Trump to push Russia for a negotiation, and we are willing to participate in those negotiations to ensure a comprehensive, just and lasting peace in Ukraine. And to ensure European security for all the European countries, he added.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning.